How's everybody doing tonight? YouTubers ready? Let's wait till we get a little crowd going here. Make sure y'all are tapping that light screen upon joining, please. Any donations I follow. What up, Dizzy? What up, YT? Luke? How is everybody doing? Francisco? What's good? What's good? I was really trying to get on by midnight tonight, you guys. I really was. What's happening, Montavis? But I wanted to kind of squeeze in that gnome video. I thought that was pretty intriguing. What up from Memphis? How's it going, man? Joseph Smith, Casey Fitzpatrick, RJ Raymond, Ramrod, Jason Calder, Vegas tuning in. What is up, Vegas? Good luck. Joseph Reyes, Old School G, Isaac Talton, Samez Carter, Hazel, Kimberly, Bernardo. How y'all doing? Hey, I appreciate the glasses. Awesome. Vidaria, anime fan. Hearts Fire Jewelry, what's up, what's up? Callie in the house, I love it. Repping their city. Hello from Pittsburgh. Indianapolis, Indiana. What up, Scott? Appreciate that, Byron Williams. Appreciate the rose, my guy. That's what's up. Appreciate the roses. What's popping from New Mexico? Hey, sweet lips, huh? Florida in the house. Niagara Falls. Awesome. Chico Locks. Texas. Florida girl. Awesome. Looks like we got a crew tonight. I figured Friday night, you know, you guys could handle me getting on a little later. It's Friday. Got no job. Finna get you high, Craig. Nice. Nice. Allegedly in the mid-1800s, they found a gnome body in Ireland. I don't know if you guys saw that. If you saw the, hey, I appreciate the $2 donation here on YouTube. I appreciate that. And you guys, I got to kind of give a intro or a shout out to, I just established a members program on YouTube. I'm still going to kind of be working out what I'm going to do for the members. I'm probably, if you go to the highest tier of member, I did it like Titans, Giants, and Nephilim, like 3 different tiers. But one of them's like $25 a month. I might give a free t-shirt or something out. Establishing my merchandise as well on YouTube. So just be patient with me for the moment. But I will have some merchandise on YouTube coming out. So be ready. I know, right? Hey, last live on YouTube we had 250. No, I maxed out 239. So that's killing it, man. Hey, I appreciate that, Jake. Appreciate you. Yeah, so all y'all over here, check out my YouTube. My numbers always dwindle when I talk about YouTube on TikTok, but that's okay. No, so other than that, I got the members program, badges for tiers of membership, special emojis. I'm still working on making more, but yeah. So I gotta ask you guys, hold on here on TikTok. Let me turn my Wi-Fi on here. I'm only working off the internet, okay, or the phone's internet. So I watched this video, you guys, and you know, I'm not a usual talker about the jab or whatever you want to call it. I usually don't bring that type of stuff up. I haven't really looked into the exorcism of Emily Rose, but I need to. Yeah, for sure. Ramrod, RJ. Yeah, that'd be cool. I guess I'm not really sure with the gear exactly what I'm supposed to do, like, or how I'm supposed to, because I have a lot of cool pictures in mind, like Anunnaki, you know, cool stuff like that. I was thinking a line of like Anunnaki, Lemurians, Atlanteans, like you can make pictures of all that stuff. Giants is a big thing right now. I think somebody started selling gear with giants on it, or even gear with like Middle Earth on it, bro. Like I always felt like gear with Middle Earth on it would sell like hotcakes, or even like Admiral Byrd, y'all. Like gear with Admiral Byrd and Operation High Jump, shit like that. I feel like would pop. So I just don't know how the copywriting stuff goes with that. So I kind of am a little hesitant. I don't know. I don't want to copyright infringe anything or anybody. So yeah, I'd love some help with that for sure. I'd be a giant person. I like giants. Crazy, crazy. So I watched this TikTok, right? And this dude says, if you have an Android phone, hold the home button and ask your phone to sing a song. Okay? I did it. Of course, it wasn't what the video showed or whatever, but this guy said this, and then in the comment section, a girl asked, "You got to tell us what the heck's on what happens," basically. He's like, "Okay," so he played this video. I'm gonna play it for y'all, and it's intriguing to say the least. You know, it's different. It's a vibe, right? So I'm gonna go ahead and play that for you guys in my speaker here, or my microphone here, and see what y'all think. Okay, hold up. Let's celebrate that we have the vaccine to help us bring a change to this whole routine. It can help us build our immunities while taking care of our communities. Vaccines are safe and an important step towards opening up and shaking hands again. And going somewhere we couldn't visit for months. Protecting ourselves and the world at once. Scientists work night and day. In record time they found a way. Like superheroes and masks and gloves, helping us get back to what we love. Did you guys catch all that? I'll hook it to my speaker if I got to. Hold up. I got to. Hold up. We're going to jam to this right quick. We got to jam to this right quick. For real. Got my JBL here. That Party Box 310. It beats. Isn't it? Okay, here it goes. Let's celebrate. We have the vaccine to help change this whole routine. It can help us build our immunities while taking care of our communities. Vaccines are safe and an important towards opening up and shaking hands again. And going somewhere we couldn't visit for months. Protecting ourselves and the world at once. Scientists work night and day. In record time they found a way. Like superheroes and masks and gloves, helping us get back to what we love. Okay, I just had to play that for you guys. Did any of you guys try that? Did any of you guys get that to come up? I'm just curious. Because I didn't. When I did it, mine didn't come up. My Google Earth started saying, like, I'm singing for you, la 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 la. But I just thought that was interesting, to say the least. Pretty intriguing. A cute little song, I suppose. I think they've already took it off of the actual response though, because like I said, I tried it, and yeah, um, I'm not impartial to the vaccine either way. That's on you. Have I got it? No, I have not. But I'm not hating on y'all if you did. You know what I mean? I don't know what it's so hard to tell. It's just so up in the air with all that stuff. Just thought it was a kind of interesting little thing. When you ask your Android to sing a song, that's the one that they present. So, um, anyway, I'm gonna talk about some gnomes for a second. All right, Duendes, by Mexican Lore. And what up, my boy Montro? I see you there, homie. Good to see you. So I found these pictures, or these sets of pictures on Facebook. It's actually in the background of my TikTok right now, and they were interesting to say the least. They look authentic, okay? They look very, very real, all right? And it was supposedly a set of 4 gnomes. They called them house gnomes, found among neglected Christmas items in Stockholm, Sweden. And it's said that a witch had captured them in the 1700s. Svarte Mor Ronquist had captured them. Basically, how it went was she captured one of them, held it captive, and I don't know if you know about the folklore of gnomes. Mostly they are not interfering with human activity in life. I mean, if you believe in them, if not, that's cool too. I've heard and seen enough accounts to where there are little people out there. I've seen us that are little people. I mean, I went to school with a girl that was called, they referred to her as Dwarven, like dwarf. She was very short. She was just, she couldn't have been much more than, I think she was under 2 feet tall. She was older than me. She would wander the halls, go to school like the rest of us. And everybody actually treated her very kindly. And I always loved that about our school back then. Everybody treated her so kind. She was, I would say, popular in her own right. She was a popular girl. People loved her, and she was kind and sweet. I think at times she could be a little feisty, but she had a sister in school as well that was fully normal, and what's normal, but fully grown. And yeah, so they exist, guys, and just because they're not among us in society doesn't mean that they're not out there, okay? And I've heard some accounts from people that people come to me, like I said, and even like family and friends have, about some stuff like this, and they've come to me not realizing that I think that what they saw was gnomes, or what they were interacting with was in fact little people. The curious part of it all is the mythology or the lore around or surrounding gnomes spans the entirety of the earth. All different cultures talked of gnomes. Duendes, Tomta was the Norse mythology name of gnomes. So, and the odd part of it all was when I did actually go in and I researched all of this, almost every culture that talked about gnomes talked of the same thing. 3 types, okay? They were, some of them winged, some of them weren't, the smallest, like sprites, fairies, all that type of stuff. They have duendes in Mexico. Duendes actually is like, if you talk to a lot of people from ancestries from Mexico, duendes is like a curse word in that culture because it's known that they take children, okay? Many people have messaged me stating that my grandmother would never let me outside at night because of the gnomes or the little people. They said she would always say that they would steal children. Uh, and then sometimes they wouldn't tell their grandchildren that, and then later on they would say, "Hey, now I know why my grandmother wouldn't let me out at night in Mexico." Um, so the lore runs deep. I've seen video of them. This picture behind me, I mean, it's they are absolutely, they look real to me. Uh, and so, the funny thing is I have a friend, right, who, and she had told me this story a year ago, probably. Okay, she was at her boyfriend's house, right, and she was sleeping, or she was getting ready to go to sleep, and she had kind of fell into this like REM sleep. I don't know if y'all know that, the sleep paralysis type sleep, but she would always talk about how they would constantly hear things in this home, um, from voices to thuds and bangs, but the voices they would always hear male and female, right? And she always had thought it was maybe haunted or some paranormal stuff going on. And I had found this story on the gnomes and showed her or sent her a picture of it, and her literally, she like gasped, like freakily gasped, and she mentioned the story that she had told me. I mean, literally her eyes almost started like watering because it was like so real and so, oh my God, that's what it was to her. Okay, so she was getting ready to go to bed one night, and she said that she fell into that paralysis type REM sleep. Okay, well, after she had fallen into this sleep, she had been, and for some reason, she said she usually faced the wall, but for some reason this night, of all nights, for some reason, she was on the outside, and her man took the inside of her spot, right? And she just, never really ever slept out on the outside, but that night, you know how it is, with your significant other, you sleep where you're supposed to, you get your spot. Well, for some reason, thank you, I appreciate it. Appreciate it. Stay far from the meta, he says. Thank you, Trump 2020. So she was facing the closet, okay? And she said all of a sudden she saw a movement in there. She kind of didn't really think much of it, at first when she was in this paralysis. But then she saw the movement happening a little more. She started to kind of panic, right? Well, all of a sudden, she said she saw this figure appear and slowly start walking out of the closet, okay? And she said it was she even told me this, like I said, before I showed her these gnomes, or before I showed her these pictures at all. She told me it was an old man with a funny shaped head, like a funny shaped face, like almost, she said, Neanderthalic, like structure, and he had a long white beard, and he had white hair. She said it approached her, and of course she told me she must have been having nightmares later on. But she said it approached her and she started to panic. At this time she was having a lot of sleep paralysis, and actually, it's said that these gnomes can be magical, if you will. They have abilities. They're probably, I'm guessing maybe they're like earthen abilities, being one with the earth or something like that. Or who knows, it could be slight witchcraft. I don't know. But they can cause you sleep paralysis, these gnomes. If you're in a certain state, they can cause you sleep paralysis. So as she was having this sleep paralysis, she said this creature kind of walked up to her, right? And kind of, just in a weird manner. She said the jaunt was odd, and it scared the daylights out of her. And she said it stopped and stared at her. And at the time, when she was in this state, she didn't realize that they were so small, or this being was so small. At the time, she didn't fathom what size he was. She just knew it was an old man with a long white beard, and I'm guessing she kind of more concentrated on the face, right? So, as it was staring at her, it kind of gave her this, like, turn head type stare, and then all of a sudden, she said it just reached out with its finger, and it touched her on the forehead, and held it there for a second, and backed up. And then, at this point, she was really panicking, okay? So she was really trying to, you know how you are when you're in sleep paralysis, you try to move a limb, or you're trying to wiggle your way out of it and wiggle your way awake. She said at the point where it touched her forehead, she got an adrenaline burst. And all of a sudden, she just jumped awake, screaming and crying, like terrified, right? Wakes her boyfriend up. He's like, what are you doing? What are you doing? Kind of gets a little, like mad or something. He hadn't been sleeping, but he was like, what are you talking about? Oh, you're just dreaming. Well, she said, of course, as she jolted awake, these things are masters of disappearing, hiding. They're stealth. They're constant camo. They are fast. They are sleek, and slight, right? So she woke up, jumped awake, and it was gone. Okay. But when I showed her this picture, her eyes literally started watering, and knowing instantly that it was a gnome, right? Generally they're not, they're, I don't want to call them malevolent, right? They're not evil beings, but they are mischievous, right? Mischievous. They like to scare you. They get a kick out of it, right? So I guess if you ever encounter one, and you got to be of a certain belief system, and you got to be of a certain, I don't want to even call it a frequency, just a certain belief system to see them. If you don't believe in them, you will never see them, because you won't be looking for them. I mean, plain and simple, you'll be going through life thinking there's no such thing, so naturally you will not see them. But like I said, I've heard enough stories. I had another friend who told me how he would, when he was a kid, he'd go in the garage and, he'd like smoke cigarettes and stuff like that. And one day he was smoking a little, like, he was young, a little grass or something that he found. And he said it kind of knocked him silly. And as he was knocked silly, he always called them like little ninjas, right? He would call them little ninjas. And he said he thought he was hallucinating, but he started seeing them peeking from behind little items in the garage. And after a while, he started kind of getting spooked and realizing, holy shit, what are these things? Because one would peek, then another. And he said before you know it, he figures probably anywhere from 10 to 12 were peeking from behind items all throughout the garage. And he was just young. So they would probably approach him in this younger age and state, right? More likely to approach a child than they are an adult. You know how they say children can see things up to a certain age, ghosts, entities, energies, etc. Babies can see certain spirits, things like that. So, yeah, they're basically, yeah, sure, they're a type of elf. You could consider them elves, like elves for sure. So he would see them all, and then one kind of started to approach him, and he started to come to, and as soon as he kind of come to and got up, they just disappeared, just like that. Snap of a finger, they were gone. He had a couple encounters with them, and he didn't even realize what they were until I said, bro, you saw little people. You saw gnomes, most likely. And I know people, like, when you tell the normal folk, like, that don't watch my channel, that there's gnomes, they pretty much want to laugh you out of the room, but truth is, when your keys and your things keep disappearing, items come up missing, your dogs constantly bark in a certain direction. I've had that happen a lot around my house, which was I'm out in the camper now. I'm in a fifth wheel, but when I stayed up in the trailer house, we had a lot of weird activity go on up there. Um, and yeah, you didn't realize what they were, but you'd have things disappear a lot. And yeah, they get a kick out of messing with you, but that's usually as far as it goes. Now, in certain cultures, like I said, you don't hear about it as much in America, but in certain cultures, they will kidnap children. If you get if you encounter them in the woods or anything like that, they are large in number, and they have been known to take people. But for the most part, if they're in your house, uh, not as much to worry about. You probably don't even know they're there. But I mean, I imagine you know, there's thousands and thousands of households that don't realize it, but they probably have gnomes. Okay, um, like my Uncle Charlie, my uncle, when my grandmother moved out of her house to go to a home, he would hear things a lot at night in her house. And that house is very old. My grandfather built it. He built the basement and also a fruit cellar, all that type of stuff. So it's very old house. It's been around for a long time. He had never stayed there by himself. So prior to my grandmother going to the home, when he would hear things, and he always heard things like thuds upstairs, thuds in the kitchen, etc. He would hear things and he would just ignore them because he figured it was my grandmother. But after she left, he kept hearing all this activity upstairs. I mean, he would say they were loud thuds. He's an old country boy, so he had a gun with him. And there was a couple times where he would literally, it was so loud that he felt like he just knew there was somebody upstairs. So he would, take up arm and then go upstairs to find nothing, nobody. Now, what's funny is the last time I was there, my little Shih Tzu, my dog, who's no longer here, but my little Shih Tzu, he went inside and he wouldn't come out. He always follows me everywhere. Like, it was weird. And I was yelling for him and yelling for him and yelling for him. It was dark in the house and he would not come to me. So I finally went in after him and I found him near my grandmother's bedroom in what they called the girls' room. My grandmother had 10 kids. This was the girls' room, and then the boys' room was outside in another separate little dwelling. And he was just sitting on the floor, staring at more or less, it was like towards the wall in the window. And he was just sitting there staring into the abyss, like staring intently, like he sees something. You know what I'm saying? And I believe he did. I think that maybe a little person was messing with him. You know what I mean? He didn't know what to think of it. Maybe first time he saw it, I don't know. But on top of that, my uncle always said that he would hear at night. He swore he would hear it every night. He would hear faint phonograph-style music within the walls and behind the walls of the basement. Okay? Now, they are known to steal items of people throughout the tenure or whatever they are in their house. They've been known to steal items, so it just makes you wonder if maybe they stole maybe an old record player, and he would hear this old classical music inside the wall at night. And I said, you're probably hearing those little suckers playing music. You know what I mean? They're a lot like, they got like music, right? So, and he would hear, one night he heard a broom fall over and smack to the ground like it was thrown to the ground, not like it just fell, like it was like whap. And then he'd flash his flashlight and, he'd never catch them. You don't catch them. Now, that's where I always feel more comfortable because I have animals. If anything's going to catch them, it's going to be your dog. You know what I'm saying? So, sometimes if your dog randomly barks at things, don't bet it ain't a duendes. So, on a weird note, I've been having this gentleman that hits me up on Facebook talk to me about duendes, right, and elves, right? Oddly enough, he's saying that there's an elf manufacturing world underground, that they have an entire network, and they manufacture whatever underground. I don't know. They, for their community, they live underground and they have entire communities under there. And he said that they will let you into their world. They will show it to you. And he's been throwing me out invites, right, to basically come into contact with them. And this is weird. I know it sounds really weird. I'm not like totally bought in, right? It's weird, but I'm the type of person who doesn't write off anything. You know what I'm saying? I don't write off anything, okay? Whether it sounds weird to people or not, I'm not out here to impress anybody. I don't care what you think, if you think I'm crazy or not, because crazy getting me paid. So, no. But for real, honest to God, I don't care. I wouldn't care if I was getting paid or not. But at the end of the day, he told me that if I want, I can come into contact with these elves, and they will take me on a tour of their world, or their underground labyrinth. So, and I don't know if I was just seeing things, but so weird enough, the other night, right? I'm falling asleep in my camper, and tonight, I always used to have my head like facing the backside of the camper, like where the TV is and stuff, right? But tonight, for some reason, like I've been getting a lot of emails and messages and stuff about warning me that I could be a target based on all my content, etc. So, you know, I don't necessarily like believe that, right? But I don't take anything lightly either. And I've had, like I said, enough people have said this to me to where I don't play, dude. Like, I don't take risks. So I turned my position to where you see here on YouTube, that back headboard right there. And it's facing the door, okay? So I'm not sitting there like a lame duck with my back to anybody. I'm going to be sitting there facing them. You know what I'm saying? So I did that, right? And the first night I've done this, the first night. And to keep this place warm, I actually put up a little blanket above in front of the bathroom, and it's like the bathroom and then the back bedroom. I don't really sleep in the back bedroom just because why heat the whole place, you know what I'm saying? So, hold up here. There we go. Looked pale right there. Okay. I didn't like that. Okay, so, anyway, I was facing the blanket to the bathroom, okay? And I was just starting to fall asleep. And like I said, I don't know if I was dreaming or not. It doesn't matter. I don't know if I was dreaming or not. I could have been. But it seemed real, you know what I mean? As I was facing the bedroom, or the bathroom, excuse me, in the bedroom, yeah, the bedroom, and looking at that blanket that I just put up, I'm not kidding you when I say this. And then this was last night before I had got on and read this gentleman's messages to me. I'm not kidding when I say I literally looked, and so I'm the type of person, y'all, I don't play, like, I don't sleep in the dark. And call me a wimp, call me whatever, but I call it defensively ready. I leave a small light on. There's no dark corners, you know, and it's not blinding, but it's just enough illumination to light up the room. There's no darkness. I don't like any dark corners. I don't know. I don't. Ever since all this stuff that I've learned and all this and these encounters and all that, talking about and studying grays, that grays like dark corners. They are masters of stealth. They can hide in a corner that is black, and the whole room can be illuminated, and you won't see them. They are pros at it. Okay, pros. So I have a nightlight on. like I said, it's also a defensive thing. It's just how I am. Uh, so I had this light just lightly illuminating the room. You could see the blanket I have up, and I shit you not, just as I was falling asleep, like I was in the paralysis sleep. I literally was in sleep paralysis. I see about 1 foot high on that blanket. It was on the right side, my right. I see this blanket go just open. Beep. And it's black. It's black. When it opens, it's pitch black behind it. And like I said, these things are masters of stealth. They would make it so I wouldn't see their image. They would make it so when they opened it, it would be pitch black. You wouldn't see it. You know what I mean? Because, that's just how they are. They would stand far enough back, you wouldn't be able to make them out. And they did it a couple times. They're like, boop, 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 boop. You know what I mean? Like really studying before they step in. I'm telling you, I know, I don't like want to be judged or anything like that. But and I'm not saying it's for sure anything. It could have been nothing, absolutely nothing. But it's just weird that I've been talking about gnomes, and then this dude hits me up about elves, right? Which is a wild thing. And all of a sudden now I spot this movement, right? And I just, in my gut, you know what I instantly said in my head? I already knew. I just said, that's a freaking little guy. That's a little person. But, it's weird in that situation. You can tell yourself in your head that you will be totally cool, calm, and collected. If they approached you, you would be, you could tell yourself you would be calm and you would not be afraid. But I'm telling you, that's not the case. You know what I'm saying? Like, when I seen that thing do that, I instantly was like an adrenaline bump in my stomach. And I was like, oh shit, oh shit, oh shit, right? And I'm sitting back there and it's watching me, you know what I mean? And I'm like, of course, in sleep paralysis. It's like they know. Like, you know what I mean? It's like they know when you're past the point of total coherency. You know what I mean? That's why I can, they come out and they show themselves at that moment, because at that moment, you will question whether or not you saw one because of the state you're in. It's like they know when you're in that state. They do not show themselves when you can be like, oh my God, I know them for a fact. You know what I'm saying? They wait until you're in that state of being to where you will question it yourself. Wow, I must have been dreaming, man. That shit is crazy. No, I was half awake, half asleep, but I knew what was going on around me and I could see. So I'm instantly doing the same thing. I'm trying to jump myself awake. And in that state I was in, I was trying to tell them, like I kept trying to say, I see you, like to let them know, like, I'm not sleeping, bro. I see you. You know what I'm saying? And it seems like when I was in that state, like what I remember is I got it out. I was like, I see you, kind of like, I'm like, oh, I see you, like mumbling, I remember. And then after that, I don't know why, like, obviously it went away. I jolted awake and I kept trying. Like, it took me forever though, too. Like, it took me forever. Like, I'm trying to find my my glizz, bro. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not playing. Like, I'm trying to find it, get it, and which would be so stupid because, dude, that's the last thing you want to do. Like, the last thing you want to do. Like, I would never feel good about that. You know what I'm saying? Like, I would never feel good about that. Like, regardless, you know what I mean? And then the hell there would be to pay. They will haunt you for the rest of your days, bro. If you take one of their members, like if you take one of their members, I'm telling you, that will haunt you for the rest of your days, and it will be hell to pay. You will be a miserable person. They are good at it. You will have to take out every one of the clan if you want to think you're gonna, you know what I'm saying? So, I put my red dot. I got a red dot, but turned it on, and I started hitting it on the blanket. It was more of a deterrent, just to keep them away, till I can gather my head around something like that. So I'm putting my on the blanket, and I never saw him again the rest of the night. So uh, it was more of, like I said, a deterrent. It wasn't a bubbles. Than a actual threat. You know what I'm saying? I didn't want it to be or seem like a threat. Like I said. And you know, so that was my only experience with them. Like I said, I've never really actually seen one, but this guy be hitting me up, and I like, you know, he's like, they'll make you take something before you go with them. So I'm like, dude, I don't even know about all that. Like, I'm not even feeling all that. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't really want to do that. So I'm probably not gonna do it. Just because I'm comfortable with knowing that they exist. You know what I mean? I don't need to go see their world or nothing like that, if that's possible at all. But Duendes always come back to hit me, man. Like, I love the lore and the stories of the Duendes. Like, they are freaking, it's amazing, dude. Absolutely amazing. And yeah, they are also, like I say, they can be friendly. They can be good beings. They can probably help you in ways, you know. So if you ever have encountered one, or will encounter, or do encounter one, don't worry. Be kind. Be chill. And I'm gonna have to teach myself to do that same thing. So because your instincts want to tell you to naturally want to resist them. You naturally want to, you know, they're spooky little fellas. You know what I mean? So that's the whole gnome story. That's what I had to tell or talk about with gnomes. That's the gist of it. So I just thought these little creatures, dude, they look so real. They're elves essentially, and yeah, I just thought it'd be a cool story to share. So that's gnomes for tonight. And people are wanting me to talk about the metaverse, and I haven't done a lot of research on it. I heard, you know, these guys were buying real estate next to Snoop Dogg for $1 million or something like that already in the metaverse. Now, the metaverse is curious. It's interesting. Yeah, exactly. Don't be afraid, though. Right. The light can be as blinding as the dark. Interesting. Yin and yang. Yin and yang. So, yeah. So, hey, thank you so much, Chariots of Gold, for $5. Thank you so much, bro. You're awesome. All donations are very, very much so appreciated, you guys. You're awesome. He opens the door for the fragile unbelievers. So, any of you guys seen Ready Player One? Or read the book? It was a great read, by the way. It was a good book. Good book. Basically, it's this story about a kid who grows up in the poor portion of Earth, and Earth is like in the future, like ran down, overpopulated. The gap between the rich and the poor was immense. And there was this, say, metaverse. It was a big thing. Like, everybody played, everybody was a part of this gaming metaverse where you could be any avatar, be anything you wanted to be, and you had to gather the biggest thing in the game, the biggest accomplishment you could achieve was gathering all these Easter eggs and defeating them, basically. The original creator of the game did not intend for it to be bad, but this guy who was his partner, I killed him off or something. Maybe didn't kill him off. Maybe he's still alive and hiding. It's been a long time since I read it, but it's a really good book. It's kind of like that movie with Bruce Willis, which is a little different, but it's kind of the same. Uh, I forget the name of the movie. That's terrible. But it's basically where you can jump into this Oculus and you will become a robot, basically, in real life. Like, you will function as a robot in real life. Same kind of concept. And who knows, could it come to that? Like, I remember in the movie, Bruce Willis was at contention with his wife because his wife would forget about her real self and stay too long inside the robot world, inside the robot body. Okay? Yeah, Avatar, same concept, sure. Avatar, same concept. That she wouldn't eat. Like, she was just so beautiful as a robot. She stayed the same age. And she just got, and it was a common thing where surrogate, thank you. I knew one of you guys were going to say that. Thank you, surrogate. Basically, same concept. Like, could it come to that one day is the next thing? It's kind of like weird. Yeah, no, dude. I know. I wish that was. Side note, I'm gonna stick to your TikTok video. Quality is so much more clear on there. I know. I love the TikTok platform for as far as the live quality goes. Like, absolutely. And maybe it's just my iPhone because I'm using my iPhone on there. But I agree wholeheartedly with that. So, yeah. Anyway, I love YouTube better though. As far as the people and all that, the platform itself, I love YouTube way more. Cool. Got a member. I love it. I love it. Thank you for joining, Melissa Sterick. Welcome to Giants. Thank you so much. So, yeah, YouTube, it's gonna catch up. It'll be good, man. YouTube's where it's at. They're the absolute. They're the first pioneers of the game. They'll never die. I know at first it was, oh God, TikTok's gonna put YouTube out a bit. Yeah, right. Never happened. So, anyway, the metaverse. They're saying, and dude, I just watched this dude, this crypto guy I follow on TikTok, and he was saying how in 10 years study up the metaverse, because if you can figure out how to get rich in the metaverse, you can figure out how to get rich on the outs in the real life, and vice versa, right? So to watch it, follow it, and also since this whole metaverse thing, if you have the money, do yourself a favor and invest in Facebook stock. I wish I would have had the money when they first went public, because they were like $50 a share. I think they're up to like 300 now or something, or I don't know. I'd have to look at that. It seems like they have skyrocketed compared to $50. And then now that the metaverse is happening, if you have the money, invest in Facebook stock. And if you invested originally, keep it. Don't sell. Like, you're gonna kill it. So yeah, this metaverse thing is very interesting. I don't even know how to go about it. It's gonna be kind of like weird, yeah. I mean, I don't know. You got to probably have an Oculus, and you got to be part of it. Create an avatar. I don't know. It's not my gig. You know what I mean? I don't know. If it's about money, I'll look into it just cause. You know what I mean? If it's about money, I'm about it. I'll look into it. But I don't know how established I'll get in this metaverse. Really. Really doesn't super intrigue me, especially because it's like kind of like just as like a fake avatar world of fakeness. I mean, it won't seem like you're there. It's not like it isn't where Ready Player One tech is portrayed yet. Ready Player One is a whole nother level of it. So yeah, so I'm definitely gonna, yeah, Facebook changed the name to Meta, and yeah, I know all these theories about it and all that stuff like that. Sure, I haven't really looked into it that much. It's not really super intriguing to me. I'll probably not deal with it. Like, they're smart by getting like Snoop Dogg to sell it for them. They know what they're doing when it comes to the advertising of the whole thing. So we'll see how it goes. It should be interesting to say the least. Of course, how everybody thinks Mark Zuckerberg is part of some society and all this stuff. Who knows? I don't know. Kind of, we'll see. I don't know. But anyway, moving on from the metaverse. I mean, it would be crazy, but until it's like you're feeling everything that's in the metaverse, when you are, I want to walk and feel like I'm walking in the metaverse, or at least have my mind convinced that I'm doing that. You know what I mean? For me to, yeah, there you go. Like, that's until it's to that level, or like almost like surrogate level. I'm probably not gonna mess with it. Sword Art Online. Interesting. What up, Jake? How you doing, brother? Good to see you. Good to see you. What did I just show? What do you mean? Thank you, Charlie Ramirez. I appreciate that. Yeah, he's definitely, yeah, an odd duck for sure. Sundi to you. Good to see you. Thank you for the gifts. I really appreciate it. That mouth. Not just Sword Art Online, there are several about VR. Huh. Interesting. Hey, bro, from the UK. Waiting to see it still. Yeah, for sure. It's hard to tell. Yeah, and like the video I shared about Elon Musk integrating into it somehow. That should be kind of crazy too. I had thought they were beefing. I had thought that Elon Musk and Mark Zuckerberg were beefing. So it kind of surprised me that they were actually going to consider integrating into, like, they called it like the Black Mirror world, is what Elon Musk said exactly. The Black Mirror world. Yeah, hell yeah. Smash that like button, y'all. I appreciate it. For real. I know, right? Dude, it does. It reminds you of the old Sims, bro. From them old school folk. The old Sims, bro. For real. Yeah, they were preparing us mentally. They were preparing us mentally for sure. Yeah, any donations too, please be greatly appreciated. On the YouTube side, TikTok always would be greatly appreciated. They have the option at the bottom of my chat. So thank you, AJ. I appreciate it. Good to see you. Mid-Michigan. Right now we're talking about the metaverse. Ha, Saskatchewan? Yeah, you probably got Bigfoots there for sure. Bigfoot there for sure. Yeah, so lately, like I said, you guys, thank you, AJ. Thank you so much. Origami, I love it, the crane. No, yeah, so I have a new members platform on YouTube. Hopefully soon. Yes, go Wolverines, baby. I love it. Did you guys see that? I don't remember the kid's name, but in the Oxford school thing, the kid that tried to take down the gunman or whatever, the kid, they repped him in the game in number 42. And it was really cool because they ended up scoring 42 points against Iowa, if I'm correct. I didn't watch the game, but really cool. So Michigan, yeah, they're making the playoffs, and I hope Harbaugh gets one finally because he's well overdue. That guy, he needs one to happen for him. If he does this, then we will finally buy into Harbaugh fully. He's finally gotten, it took him a while, but he's finally gotten that line around. Arguably, I watched him against Ohio State, and yeah, Michigan's line, their D line and their O line are a force to be reckoned with. That's good old smash mouth Midwest football, baby. You gotta love it. I'll always talk a little sports. I played football my whole life, so love me some ball. Love me some ball. Yeah, so I like to see that Harbaugh went back to the Pro I system. one tight end, two receivers, fullback, running back, good old school fashioned football. Finally, I would love it to see a North team win the whole gig, because Alabama's ran the tables pretty much for the last many years. So, but what else was I? Yeah, so I got merchandise coming, and they're setting me up with this app called Spring on YouTube, and then soon enough they're gonna allow you guys to donate on my videos on YouTube too. So that's exciting stuff. Hey, awesome. TikTok game. Thank you so much, Cindy or Sundi. I appreciate you. Thank you so much. Hey, thank you for joining, Jeremy Lancaster. I appreciate it. Like I said, I'm going to come up with something for my members. I'm going to maybe do like an exclusive live once a week where maybe I just go over your questions, or take questions from every one of you, like what you want me to answer. Okay. And maybe I'll do something like that, or like an exclusive video once a week. We'll see what happens. But I'm going to do something different or special for you guys. And yeah, maybe even like the full on members, like I could do like maybe even a phone call, like chat with you guys on the phone. Who knows? FaceTime, something like that. Any concerns you have, I'll hear it out. We'll talk about it and we'll vibe. Or maybe, like I'm still wanting to do a podcast. People have been asking me to join their podcasts a lot lately, and I want to start doing it. So, kind of expand my horizons a little bit. So, yeah, and I'm gonna go back to my next video. I want to go back to the Lemurians and their way of life for a while. How do you become a member? A couple of people just did. I think you have to go on my page, or it could be in the Metatron. Absolutely. I was just reading about Metatron. I got to do a little more research on it, but I was just reading about Metatron. So to become a member, I just literally, you guys, just got the membership thing approved. Okay, it took me forever because I had to provide emojis, and they all had to be 1-to-1 ratio, otherwise they wouldn't work. So there we go. That's so much better, bro. Otherwise they wouldn't let me join the platform. So check it out. It should be on my page somewhere. Orlando Torres, we talked about gnomes for the first get, and then we've been talking about the metaverse since then. So interesting stuff, to say the least. Very cool. And yeah, like I said, my membership platform, I was supposed to do a presentation video. I'm going to add that and all that stuff. So yeah, Unicron, Omicron, all that stuff. Well, yeah, I always think Megatron from Transformers. Everyone going to end up like in that movie WALL-E. Interesting. Is my old Spotify still up? I'm still trying to find a platform or an app to where I can transfer my video sound to a MP3 and add it up. I do have one now, so I'm going to start doing that. Yup. Stuart Swerdlow. Interesting. I'll have to check that out. Osama. What? No, I'm not going live, bro, with you. Not going live. So that's that. I got to move on here. But other than that, everything's been good. I'm going to keep going. And yes, I'm going to hit up Terrence Ross. I promise you guys, I'm going to hit him up. I've been watching his podcast. I need to get in touch with him. I know the season started, but he told me I could be on his podcast anytime. I've kind of been trying to get a feel for it, He doesn't seem to have a lot of guests on, which no biggie. That's cool. Should be interesting. And it's crazy because I'm constantly learning new uh, content or new information about the reptilians and all the history. Like, I'm still trying to jumble it all in my head so I don't, so I sound like I know what I'm like exactly talking about. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's so much to it. Like, I had thought for the longest time that the Anunnaki were the reptilians, you guys, and I don't think I am correct about that. I don't think they are the reptilians. I don't think the Anunnaki are draconians. I think they are human, more humanoid-like entities. They are just giants. Simply that. They're just giants. So I don't believe that. And see, I don't want to give out any wrong information. I've been reading about it, and ever since I got the Alien Book of Secrets, uh, I ever since I got that, I just I know they're not reptilians. Okay. Um. So I'm going to go back and yeah, they're human like just like giants. So for the longest time, I thought maybe they were draconians. They are not. They're not. They're not. They're just like us, except giant, pretty much. So the reptilians have just been here. Oh, really, Jake? I've never heard that theory. I had heard that well, based on the Russian Alien Book of Secrets, the Anunnaki will only work with the Zeta Reticuli because they had a hand in creating them. Oh yeah, absolutely. The evil, yes, in the world, absolutely on the rise. That's why you got to be more righteous than ever, guys. More righteous than ever. Be more righteous than ever. Try. Nope. Nope. Haven't heard from the owl in a couple nights. Nope. Have not. Reptilians created the small grays, the Zetas. Interesting. Monterey County, east side of the bowl. Hell yeah. Yeah, dude. Flat Earth is a crazy thought, crazy thing. Yeah, I know. I've been hearing a lot about 5G from the cruise himself or myself. Nice. Yeah, we could probably work something out. Yeah, that was I posted that video. The how they Russians supposedly captured a Bigfoot and they put it in a cage. Yeah. It they did a damn good job on the costume, if that's the case. If it's fake, they did a damn good job on the costume. Um, it looked pretty real to me, but yeah, a lot of people said, maybe not, maybe not. But no, Bigfoot's real. Bigfoot's absolutely real. And I know I've been posting a lot of content on my shorts lately. A lot of stuff going on. I've been finding myself like this dude or this page called Conspiracy. Oh, it's a conspiracy page. It's conspiracy on YouTube, basically. Conspiracy videos. It's all conspiracy videos. Dude, the guy goes out and he gets on TikTok or whatever platform and he basically like snatches videos, dude, and puts them on his conspiracy page, which is cool. You know, it's awesome because it's like exposure, it's putting you out there, all that stuff, but at the same time it's like videos of mine that I've posted aren't popping, and the videos of mine that he's posted are killing it. You know what I mean? So it's like, what the hell, you know? Like the Hole to Hell and stuff like that. Like the Hole to Hell is popping on his page, not so much on mine. The Ancient Civilizations Before the Oceans, popping on his page, not so much on mine. Just kind of odd. Maybe it's because he probably has more subscribers. He's up to like 565,000. Uh, so it's like Conspiracy Vibe, maybe that's what it's called. Conspiracy Vibe. Something like that. Yeah, it's hard to say, Jake. That could be true, bro. He said, I don't think a steel cage would keep him inside. Bigfoot is a multidimensional being, but that's just me. I know they can be killed. I know that they can be. I don't know if they can be actually um, captured, though. No, I don't know that. The Emerald Tablets of Thoth. That I've been looking into those. Like I said, the Lost Book of Enki we've been reading, and I do want to get to that. So it's kind of getting to a cool part. It's like I said, I'm going to stop and explain it here and there to you guys because it's kind of a tough read to grasp at times. Like, just it sounds, it's hard to totally grasp, like gather their information. Okay, so where we left off was, so like a recap. They're on Earth. Marduk, the son of Enki. Marduk, the son of Enki. Thank you, Sarah Robertson. I really appreciate you. Thank you so much. No, I will look into how to, and yeah, I should have done that before the live, but I will look into from the, oh, you can't do it from a smartphone? Okay. I'm not 100% sure on that, but I'll look into how to become a member. And if it can be done on the smartphone, I'll make sure next time I'm more better prepared to guide you in that. But I appreciate the love anyway. Thank you so much. Oh, Star Wars stuff? Like, let me just tell you guys, we were talking about this last live. Like this guy said, if Bigfoot's real, then we're headed for some Star Wars stuff. We're already there, dude. Like, I don't know where George Lucas or how or what he did or how he found the information he found, but he absolutely, he knew a lot, dude. Like, some of the beings I've seen on Star Wars, I have found in Antarctica. No doubt about it. And I really watch sharing the Antarctica stuff, you guys. I know I shared that face recently. I don't know if you guys saw it, but that large face on Antarctica, I shared that. It's kind of going viral. We'll see. But it's not CGI. It's actually there. I have the coordinates saved. I can find it at all times. There's a lot more than that. Let me just put it that way. There's a lot more than that on there. And I've seen every type of different being you can think of on Antarctica. If it's a possibility, and it's been in Star Wars, dude, like so many beings from Star Wars, dude. Like, I don't know how George Lucas knew it, but no doubt they have found, and he knew something that a lot of people didn't for his time. He was way ahead of his time. Like I say, you guys, like, I don't share all of the stuff I find on Antarctica because I find that, like, I shared the one thing on Antarctica and Instagram banned me from Reels right away. Instagram is the softest, weakest platform for sure, without question. They are whack as hell. But I got banned from Reels pretty much off of Instagram. So I actually went back and I deleted it off that same video. I deleted it off of my YouTube and I deleted it off of my Facebook as well. That wasn't the one with the face. That one's not so bad. But I found something even greater, even more distinctive, and just, I can't believe it, dude. Like, I can't believe it. How I stumbled on it, I got lucky as hell. It was in the same region as that face, and holy shit. It's wild. It's wild. And I don't even like saying it on here, like, because you guys, one thing I will say is I don't want to lose my platform for anything. So, some things I have to choose not to share. Okay? I don't know why, because I wish that we would just be past this point of worrying about any of that. Like, we should be sharing this stuff regardless of anything. We should be sharing this stuff just to ease the masses into the idea of it, okay? Because let me tell you, ETs are real. They exist right now. We are very, like I said in the last live, lucky. We are very lucky. Hey, Dre, what up, my guy? I appreciate that, bro, for real. I appreciate that. Thank you, bro. Thank you. And hey, on God, dude, I'm talking about your time transference. Because did you guys see, and I don't know if I talked about it in my last live or not. I think I did. But did you guys see my post on the World War III? If you did, my boy Dre here sent me a link, dude, because he finds some sick-ass sources. He's one of the best I've ever seen at finding some awesome sources. And I have all of them saved. I have them all of them bookmarked and archived. But this one source that he found, thank you so much for the gift, Anapiligo. Anapiligo. Thank you so much. One of them he found was on a time transference theory. A gentleman came back in time from the future in like 2036 or something like that. I mean, in the story, maybe it was even further out. I can't remember. Like I said, I got to go over it. I want to talk about that with you guys, and I'm gonna cover it. But I kind of want to do a video on it first before I just start reading off of the PDF that I have. But it's supposedly based on true events. Gentleman comes back in time and he talks about World War III. And oddly enough, it matches up with the post that I posted on when you Google World War III. And it had on fandom this account of two split, kind of like the Allies and then the communists in World War II. And it was like a split world, and we went into war, and it was World War III. Maybe that was the year it was I have to remember correctly, but I'm going to read it. I'm going to cover it. They're like the Vara Chronicles or something like that. So I'm gonna definitely do a video, and a lengthy video on that, and we're gonna cover that too. So I got a lot of cool content coming up, a lot of interesting stuff. The Terra papers as well. I want to do those too. Those are very in depth, very long. Basically, in those, a native Robert Morning Sky, his ancestor comes back and takes over his body. His ancestral spirit comes back, and he allows his spirit to take over his body to tell the story of the beginning, okay, and what has happened throughout. Very interesting story as well, and supposedly based on true accounts from the gentleman himself. So got a lot of awesome content on the table, and then the Lemurians' way of living as well. So I just thought, instead of a video, I wanted to go live tonight, chat with you guys for a little while, and then cover the Book of Enki, because the Book of Enki has been crazy. It goes over, it pretty much gets rid of any doubt to me that the Anunnaki, in fact, did create mankind, the occurrences leading up to them coming to Earth, etc. Like literally, the Book of Enki, Zachariah Sitchin, deciphering of the clay tablets, Sumerian tablets. This is what he said. So it clears any doubt to me that they are a race of higher beings, giants, live on Nibiru. And it gets back to what's cool is it tells the beginning of mankind. It goes to their last great war on Earth, and then it goes to pre-civilization, like pre-Earth, okay? And it talks about I'll cover it, but it talks about a female being named Tiamat that had children. And I like I said, I have to reread it and kind of grasp it as I read it. But she basically goes more or less evil, and she wants to take over the heavens, if I'm correct. and she kind of has the gods on her heels. She's a powerful being, and out of nowhere comes this being called Nibiru, and he is a powerful entity, and he takes on Tiamat head on. The gods recruit him, and in return, he says, "Well, if I do this, I want to be the Almighty, and I want to be the one, the man, right, the God, the ruler of the heavens." And they grant him this wish, and he goes and he takes out Tiamat. In the process, he beats her and all of her helpers, or her little, posse of disciples, or whatever you want to call them. He beats them as well, and he tears her in half. Okay. Now, the way this story is told, I keep thinking in my mind, in what scenario could Tiamat, Nibiru, all of this be an organic being? And what were they, right? Because Earth is an organic planet. It's living, it's got even a heartbeat, more or less. Okay? I love it. 200 people in the chat. I love it. So, it is said that when he tore Tiamat in half, he blew the top half to smithereens, and it created the asteroid belt. And he cast the bottom half inside, they called it the hammered belt. He threw her bottom half inside the hammered belt, and it fell into orbit and became Earth. Okay? Schumann resonance. Nice. I love it. It's like 7.62, and it's actually going up, which is beats that the frequency or the vibration travels around Earth per second. 7.62. So boom, 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 travels around Earth every second. Our vibe's the same. That's the Schumann resonance. Thank you, Jake. So he casts the bottom half of Tiamat inside the hammered belt, or the asteroid belt, and she falls into orbit. Now, one of the kings, the late kings, Alulu, if I'm correct, Alulu, an Anunnaki king at the time, got challenged by Anu, who was a son or a prince that came out of nowhere and had divine bloodline. His mother was not a random, is what I like to say. His mother was actually a half sister of King An, I want to say, or Enki, one of the two. He's later down the line, but he comes out of the woodwork like, I am of divine bloodline, and Alulu's in this throne right now. Well, they tell this story. Thank you, Ricardo. I appreciate that. Yeah, I know, right? Anu, Naki, right? Cool. It's crazy. It's really crazy. I know it, right? It's like, what a cool story. I'm so glad somebody put me onto the Book of Enki. This has been a very, very cool read. I know, Jake, you've been telling me to read the Book of Enki for a minute, bro. So now that I have, you're probably like, about time. But yeah, ever since I have, I'm like finding out all these things, and I'm like, holy crap. Are the planets, or were some of them, I'm not saying all, but could they have been organic beings at one time? Whether they floated in the cosmos, or whether they were on a much larger planet at one time, who knows, right? But these wars that they tell of are absolutely like, I know, right? Right, Jake? For sure, bro. Chariots of Gold. Yeah, very cool book. And it's cool because I found this website anyway, on a side note, called Z Library. Any free book you can think of, any free book that you can download PDF form, zlibrary.com. Check it out. Websites billionaires don't want you to know. But it makes me wonder, because they said, so how they tell this is Alulu gets, things start failing. The atmosphere of Nibiru is failing. A couple of the kings would take their celestial chariots, or their chariots of the gods, and they were traveling, and they talked about the 5 planets, like closer to Nibiru's orbit. Okay, the five, they called them they treat them as though they're children, or they're like, what do they call them? Children of the sun is what I think they call them. But there's five planets, and then they talk about the four planets. Yes, the four planets inside the hammered belt. Okay, and they tell the story of Nibiru and the battle of Nibiru and Tiamat. Well, at the time of the fabled story, it was said that Tiamat had gold running, not pure gold, but had gold flakes, or more or less gold, running through her veins. Okay? And that was the lore. She had gold running through her veins. So when they cast the bottom half into the hammered belt and it fell into orbit, this King Alulu assumed that the planet that became of Tiamat, Earth, must have a plethora of gold. Okay? Crazy shit, right? What do they call it when they strike gold? What do they hit? A gold vein, right? Interesting. You know what I mean? Very intriguing. Why is that a coincidence? I don't know, right? Maybe they know something we don't. Like Mud Fossil University, right? Mud Fossil University talks about how he found tunnels throughout the earth that were the exact replica of an ear canal. Imagine how big that would have to be. But Alulu, and it tells of Alulu, so Anu challenges him to a wrestling match, and they describe it. They get down to their birthday suit and they wrestle, and they talk about how their giants are wrestling and the earth's shaking, and he wins. Anu wins, and Alulu already had a plan of escape because he felt this was coming, so he escapes. And to redeem himself, he flies to Earth. And when I get there, you guys, it's such a cool account. It's such a cool account. I'm kind of going to skip around because, like the family hierarchies and like the king and the kings and the sons of the sons. I'm trying to kind of get past that boring stuff. Yeah, right, though? Right? Sounds like when Jacob wrestled with God in the Bible. And then the Epic of Gilgamesh, right? Do they not? And I need to get a little more familiarized with this, but the Epic of Gilgamesh as well, they have a wrestling match, right? So, yes. So, yeah, it's kind of a lot of lore that kind of falls into place there, where this great story, it gets repeated. You know what I mean? It gets repeated. Yeah, I try to. I try to. Like I said, oh, no, I was gonna say this, and this is a little side note. Like I said, I've been getting a lot of messages saying, "Oh, your house." One guy said, "Your house is gonna get knocked off its foundation," and all this stuff. And I hear a lot of that. I'm playing with fire, but I like to think this. Okay, we are at a close point of disclosure to a certain level. They're allowing trickle feeding of more and more truth, right? So I kind of think that hopefully I'm in that realm of, okay, they're going to let this guy go because we are trying to slowly trickle feed this truth. Half the people think he's crazy anyway. So let's let this guy go. And that's what I'm hoping. Because, like when I hear things like, oh, your pages like this don't last, stuff like that, it gets discouraging and it scares the daylights out of me because, like, this has been a dream of mine ever since I started TikToking a year and a half ago, and it's happening for me right now. Um, it'd absolutely be devastating to me to lose. So I try to really vibe in the positive, and think, well, disclosure's coming very soon. I really hope that they just let me roll. And I don't, that's why I kind of been backing off on the Antarctica stuff. That face on Antarctica probably was already too much. So I'm backing off of Antarctica. If you want to go see for yourself, go because it's wild stuff. Very intriguing, cool, etc. So, um, I won't be sharing any more of that at the moment. I want to keep this. So, roll like it's 420. I love it. I love it. So, lots true and fair was chosen. Okay. I kind of trying to find where we left off. Truce, peacemaking. The dynasty thus begun was by the death of Enki, disrupted on the foundational offspring. Okay. By these laws, confusion. The lordly master of the Shar. With great understanding where he was born, with much learning he mastered much knowledge to remedy the affliction ways he sought. Of Nibiru heavenly circuit he made much study. In its loop of the sun's family 5 members it embraced, so the 5 planets. Planets of dazzling beauty. For cures to the afflictions, their atmospheres he caused to be examined. So this king ordered some higher thinking people of society to fly out and observe the atmospheres of the 5 planets outside the hammered belt to see what's going on, what could they do to reestablish Nibiru's atmosphere, because the volcanoes had stopped erupting and their atmosphere had a massive hole in it. To each he gave a name. Ancestral forefathers he honored. As heavenly couples he them considered. On and onto, the twin-like planets, he called the first 2 to be encountered. Beyond in Nibiru's circuit were Anshar and Kishar, in their size the largest. As a messenger, Gaga among the others coursed, sometimes first Nibiru to meet. So, those are the 5 planets. Anshar, Kishar, Gaga. No. I take that. Yes. Anshar, Kishar, Gaga, on and onto. Okay? That's what they call them outside of the asteroid belt. So it'd be like Saturn, Uranus, Jupiter, Pluto, and I'm missing one. I don't know. Jupiter, Pluto, Mars. No, Mars is within the asteroid belt. Correct? Yes. I think. Is it? I don't know. That's too bad. That's bad. But I'm not 100%. So those are the names that they called them anyway. It said 5 in all were Nibiru's heavenly greeters as the sun circled. Beyond, like a boundary, the hammered bracelet the sun encircled. As a guardian of the heavens' forbidden region, with havoc it protected. Okay, now think about this. It says, outside the hammered bracelet, the family of 5 of the sun, they were part of Nibiru's circuit. Okay? Now it says this, as a guardian of the heavens' forbidden region, with havoc the hammered belt protected. The forbidden region. The fallen. Right? The fallen angels, the watchers. The forbidden region. Could that have been when the fallen fell to earth, they entered the forbidden region? Could that have been the start? Could this story be the start when Alulu comes to earth? He's the first fallen angel to come to earth. Were they forbade to be there at the time? Okay? So, other children of the sun, 4 in number, from intrusion, the bracelet shielded. Okay? So the bracelet, hammered bracelet, asteroid belt, did not allow celestials to enter to the forbidden zone inside the hammered bracelet. 4 planets. Probably it would be Mars, Earth, Venus, Mercury. The atmospheres. The atmosphere of the 5 greeters Enshar set out to study. In its repeating circuit, the 5 in Nibiru's loop were carefully examined. What atmospheres they possessed by observation and with celestial chariots intensely they were examined. The findings were astounding, the discoveries confusing. From circuit to circuit, Nibiru's atmosphere, more breaching it suffered. In the councils of the learned, cures were avidly debated. Ways to bandage the wound were urgently considered. A new shield to embrace the planet was attempted. All that was thrust up back to the ground it came. In the councils of the learned, the belching volcanoes were studied. The atmosphere by belching volcanoes having been created, its wound by their diminished belching had come to be. Let with invention new belching be encouraged. Let volcanoes spew again, one servant group was saying. How the feat to achieve? With what tools more belching to attain? None the king could inform. In the reign of Enshar, the breach in the skies grew bigger. Rains were withheld, winds blew harder, springs from the depths did not arise. In the lands there was accusation. The breasts of mothers were dry. In the palace there was distress, and accusation therein took hold. At his first wife, Enshar, a half-sister, he did espouse by the law of seed abiding. Ninshar, she was called, bare of the Shars, the lady. A son she did not bear. By a concubine to Enshar a son was born. Isn't that funny? A lot of times when they do this supposed bloodline breeding, this inbreeding, let's call it what it is, inbreeding, a son, again, she did not bear. How many times have we heard that? Throughout. I think that's like the 3rd time we've heard that based on the half-sister wife, a lot of times they do not produce children. I think there's something to be said about that. But, of course, by a concubine, which is a random, Enshar, a son was born. The firstborn son he was. By Ninshar, first wife and half-sister, a son was not brought forth. By the law of succession, the concubine's son, the throne ascended. The 7th to reign he was. That was weird. By the law of succession, the concubine's son, the throne ascended. Du-Eru was his royal name, and the dwelling place fashioned was its meaning. In the house of the concubines, not in the palace, was he indeed conceived. As his spouse, a maiden from his youth, beloved Du-Eru chose, by love, not by seed, a first wife he selected. Du-Eru was her royal name. She who is by my side was the meaning. In the royal court, confusion was rampant. Sons were not heirs, wives were not half-sisters. Whoa, It's funny how advanced they were, but yet, come on, man. You know what I mean? Like let's figure this out here. That the inbreeding had to stop. So, in the land, suffering was increasing. The fields forgot their abundance. Among the people, fertility was diminished. In the palace, fertility was absent. Neither son nor daughter was brought forth. Of An's seed, 7 were the rulers. Then of his seed, the throne was dry. The Uru, a child as the place the palace gateway found, a son, as a son she embraced him. The Uru in the end as a son him adopted. Legal heir him decreed. Lama, meaning dryness, was his given name. In the palace the princes were grumbling. In the council of counselors there were complaints. In the end, Lama the throne ascended. Though not of On seed, he was the eighth to reign. In the councils of the learned, to heal the breach, there were two suggestions. So to heal the atmosphere, there were two suggestions. One was to use a metal. Gold was its name. I thought that was cool. Gold was its name. On Nibiru, it was greatly rare. Within the hammered bracelet, it was abundant. It was the only substance that to the finest powder it could be ground, and lofted into the heavens. Suspended it could remain. Crazy, right? So gold, the reason they wanted it was because they could grind it to such fine powder, when they shot it into the atmosphere, it would suspend and remain. Cool. Thus, with replenishments, the breach it would heal. Protection, make better. Let celestial boats be built. Let a celestial fleet the gold to Nibiru bring over. Let weapons of terror be created, was the other suggestion. Weapons that the ground shake loose, the mountains split asunder. With missiles, the volcanoes, let's attack. Their dormancy to best, their belching to increase. The atmosphere to replenish, the breach will disappear. For a decision, Lama was too feeble. What choice to make, he knew. One circuit, Nibiru completed. 2 shars, Nibiru to count continued. In the fields, affliction was net diminished. By volcanic belching, the atmosphere was not repaired. A 3rd shar passed. A 4th was counted. Gold was not obtained. In the land, strife was abundant. Food and water were not abundant. In the land, unity was gone. Accusations were abundant. In the royal courts, savants were coming and going. Counselors were rushing in and out. The king to their words paid no attention. Counsel from his spouse he only sought. Lahama was her name. If destiny it be, let us beseech the great creator of all. To the king she said, beseeching, net actings, provide the only hope. In the royal court the princes were astir. At the king accusations were directed. Foolishly, unreasoning, greater calamities instead of a cure he brought forth. From the olden storehouses, weapons were retrieved. Of rebellion there was much speaking. A prince in the royal palace was the first to take up arms. By words of promise, the other princes he agitated. Alalu was his name. Let Lama be king no more, he shouted. Let decision supplement hesitation. Come, let us unnerve the king in his dwelling. Let him the throne abandon. The princes to his words gave heed. The gate of the palace they rushed. To the throne room, its entrance restricted. Like onrushing waters they went. So they're basically rebelling, mutiny. To the tower of the palace the king escaped. Alalu was him, he was pursuing him. That's what I say. Alalu was him pursuing. That's where it's like kind of ass backwards, hard to read. The tower of the palace the king escaped. The king escaped the palace. Alalu was him pursuing. Alalu was pursuing him. You know what I'm saying? Like, maybe one day I'll just go through and rewrite it and read it normal. Then I think it'd be a much cooler read for people. In the tower, there was a struggle. Lama fell to his death. So the current king, Lama fell to his death by the hand of Alalu. Lama is no more, Alalu shouted. The king is no more. With glee he announced. The throne room, Alalu rushed. On the throne himself he seated. Without right or counsel, a king he pronounced himself. In the land, unity was lost. Some by the death of Lama rejoiced. Others by Alalu's deed were saddened. Now this is the account of the kingship of Alalu. and of the going to earth. This is where it gets cool. So Alalu and the going to earth. In the land, unity was lost about the kingship. Many were aggravated. In the palace, princes were agitated. In the council, counselors were distraught. From father to son, succession from on the throne continued. Even Lama the eighth, by adoption, a son was proclaimed. Who was Alalu? Was he a legal heir? Was he a firstborn? By what right did he usurp? Was he not a king slayer? Before the seven who would judge Alalu was summoned, his fate to consider, before the seven who judge, Alalu spread his pleas. Though neither legal heir nor a firstborn son, of royal seed indeed he was. Of Anshargal am I descended. Before the judges he claimed, by a concubine my ancestor was to him born. Alam was his name. By the count of the Shars, Alam was the firstborn. The throne to him belonged. By conniving, the queen, his rights he put aside. A law of the seed from naught she created. For her son, the kingship obtained. Alarm of kingship she deprived. To her son instead it was granted. By descent of Alarn's generations am I continued. The seed of Anshargal is within me. The seven who judged to Alalu's word gave heed. They allowed him to be king. Wait, no, hold on. So to the council of counselors they passed the matter, truth or falsehood is certain. The royal annals from the house of records were brought forth, which with much care they were read. On and Antu, the first royal couple were 3 sons and no daughters. Firstborn Anki, he died on the throne, had no offspring. The middle son in his stead, the throne ascended. Anib was his name. Anshargal was his firstborn, the throne he ascended. After him on the throne, kingship by the firstborn did not continue. The law of succession by the law of the seed was supplanted. A concubine's son was the firstborn. By the law of the seed of kingship he was deprived. The kingship instead to King Shargal's son. So yeah, Alalu is basically the firstborn son of a concubine to one of An's descendants. Of him I ascended, Alalu to the counselors cried out. By the laws of succession the kingship he belonged. With hesitation, the counselors of Alalu on an oath of truth demanded. Alalu swore the oath of life or death as the king counseled him. Okay. The essence of An in me is preserved, by no concubine deluded. The counselors heard the words with amazement. Okay, so at this moment, so Alalu swore the oath of life or death. They summoned the elders, they summoned the princes before the decision was pronounced. Before the decision was announced, from among the princes a young prince stepped forward. About the kingship words he wished to say. Succession must be reconsidered to the assembly, he said. Though neither firstborn, nor by the queen a son, of pure seed I am descended. The essence of An in me is preserved, by no concubine deluded. The counselors heard the words with amazement. The young prince to step closer they summoned. They asked for his name. It is Anu. Okay? That's where it starts. It is Anu. My forefather An am I named. They inquired about his generations. Of An's 3 sons, he them reminded. Anki was the firstborn. Without son or daughter he died. Anib was the middle son. Instead of Anki, the throne he ascended. Anib, the daughter of his younger brother, took to be his wife. From them onward the succession in the annals recorded. Who was the younger brother? A son of An and Antu, one of the purest seed. The counselors with wonderment looked at each other. Enuru was his name. Anu to them announced. He was my great ancestor. His spouse Ninuru was a half-sister, her firstborn son. So Anu is the son of the youngest of An. Okay? I know it's confusing. Anu is the firstborn son of An's youngest son, which An was the north and south when they first became, and they first binded the north male, the south female, and there was peace. He had 3 sons. The firstborn son didn't end up having any children, couldn't have any children, so it went to the middle child. The middle child, then the kingship went on. Well, they forgot about the youngest son, the baby of the family. He had children too, and Anu was descendant of An's youngest son. There you go. That's what I'm getting at. Sorry, guys. I know it's deep. It's deep. Okay, bear with me. I know it's tough at this point, but it gets cool. The counselors in wonderment looked at each other in Nuru. His spouse Nuru was a half-sister born. Anama was his name. His wife was a half-sister by laws of seed and succession, a son she bore him. Of pure descendant, the generations continued by law and by seed perfect. Anu, after our forefather An, did my parents name me. From the throneship we were removed. From An's pure seed we were not. Let Anu be king, many counselors shouted. Let Alalu be removed. Others cautioned did counsel. Let strife be prevented, let unity prevail. They called in Aiawanu, the discovered findings to be told. To the prince, Anu, Alalu, his arm, and embrace he offered. To Anu, he thus said, though by different offsprings of one ancestor we are both descended, let us live in peace together, Nibiru, to abundance return. Let me keep the throne. Let you keep the succession. To the council words he directed. Let a new crowned prince be. Let him be my successor. Let his son, my daughter, espouse. Let succession be united. Anu bowed before the council. To the assembly he thus declared, Alalu's cupbearer I shall be, his successor in waiting, a son of mine, a daughter of his, as bride shall choose. That was the council's decision. Okay? So Alalu remained in the throne. Let celestial boats be constructed. He decided to seek the gold in the hammered bracelet. By the hammered bracelets, the boats were crushed. So basically, every time they tried to go get gold out of the hammered bracelets, it basically crushed their craft. Every time they tried to do anything near the hammered bracelets or pass through them, they were crushed. None of them returned. Anyone who set out, they weren't returned. So let it with the weapons of terror, the bowels of Nibiru be cut open. Let volcanoes again erupt. Then commanded. With weapons of terror, skyborne chariots were armed. With terror missiles from the skies, so basically, this was their last resort. They started firing missiles at their volcanoes to see what would happen, to see if they could start them to erupt again. The mountains swayed, the valley shuddered as great brilliances with thunder exploded. In the land there was much rejoicing, of abundance there were expectations. In the palace, Anu was for Alalu, the cupbearer. He would bow at Alalu's feet, set the drinking cup in his hand. Alalu was king, Anu's servant. In the land rejoicing receded, rains were withheld, winds blew harder. The belching did not increase in the volcanoes. In the heavens, Nibiru, its circuits kept coursing. The people of Nibiru ceased to revere their king. Instead of relief, misery he caused. Alalu on the throne remained seated. The strong and wise Anu, foremost among the princes, was standing before him. He would bow at Alalu's feet, set the drinking cup in his hand. For 9 counted periods, Alalu was king on Nibiru. In the 9th Shar, Anu gave battle to Alalu. The hand-to-hand combat, with bodies naked, Alalu he challenged, let the winner be king. They grappled with each other in the public square, doorsteps trembled and walls shook. Alalu bent his knee. To the ground, he fell on his chest. Alalu in combat was defeated. By acclaim, Anu was hailed as king. So this is when Anu took kingship. Anu to the palace was escorted. Alalu to the palace did not return. From the crowds he stealthily escaped. Of doing like Lama he was fearful. Unbeknownst to others, to the place of celestial chariots he hurriedly went. Into a missile-throwing chariot Alalu climbed. Its hatch behind him he closed. The 4-part chamber he entered. The commander's seat he occupied. That which shows the way he lit up. That which shows the way he lit up. Probably a hologram. With bluish aura the chamber filling, the firestones he stirred up, their hum-like music was enthralling. The chariot's great cracker he enlivened. A reddish brilliance it was casting. Unbeknownst to others, in the celestial boat, Alalu from Nibiru escaped. To snow-hued earth Alalu set his course. By a secret from the beginning, he chose his destination. So this is where they talk about, by a secret from the beginning, he chose Earth, Alalu. By a secret from the beginning. This is where they tell the tale of how Earth was created. Okay? Synopsis of the second tablet. Alalu's flight in a nuclear-armed spacecraft. He sets his course to Ki, the seventh planet Earth. Why he expects to find gold on Earth, the solar system's cosmogony, Tiamat's water and gold, the appearance of Nibiru from outer space, the celestial battle, and Tiamat's breakup. Earth, half of Tiamat, inherits her waters and gold. Kingu, Tiamat's main satellite, which is a moon, okay, Kingu, Tiamat's main satellite, becomes the moon of Earth. So Tiamat's moon was once our moon, or is our moon. Our moon was once Tiamat's moon. Crazy. Nibiru is destined to forever orbit the sun. Alalu's arrival and landing on Earth, Alalu discovering gold, holds Nibiru's fate in his hands. Crazy. To the regions forbidden, Alalu made his way. No one has gone there before. No one at the hammered bracelet a crossing had attempted. A secret from the beginning, Alalu's course has determined. The fate of Nibiru is in his hands it placed, by a scheme his kingship to make universal. On Nibiru, exile was certain. There, death itself he was chancing. In his scheme, risk was the journey. Eternal glory of success was the reward. Riding like an eagle, Alalu the heavens scanned. Below, Nibiru was a ball in a voidness hanging. Alluring was its figure. Its radiance emblazoned through the surrounding heavens. Its measure was enormous. Its belchings fire blazed forth. Its life slow, its hue a redness was like a sea churning. In its midst the breach was distinct, like a darkened wound. He looked down again. The wide breach turned into a small tub. He looked again. Nibiru's great ball turned into a small fruit. The next time he looked, in the wide dark sea, Nibiru disappeared. Remorse the heart of Alalu grasped. Fear held him in its hands. Decision to hesitation turned. To halt in his tracks, Alalu considered. Then from audacity to the decision he returned. 100 leagues, 1,000 leagues, the chariot was coursing. 10,000 leagues, the chariot was journeying. In the wide heavens, darkness was the darkest. In the faraway, distant stars, their eyes were blinking. More leagues Alalu traveled, then a sight of great joy met his gaze. In the expanse of the heavens, the celestial emissary was greeting him. Little Gaga, the one who shows the way. By its circuit, Alalu was greeting, to him a welcome extending. With a leaning gait, before and after the celestial Antu, it was destined to travel. To face forward, to face backward, with two facings was it endowed. In appearance, as first to greet Alalu as a good omen he at once considered. By the celestial gods he is welcomed. So was his understanding. In his chariot, Alalu followed Gaga's path. The second god of the heavens it was directing. Soon, celestial Antu, in the name by King Enshar, in the deep darkness was looming. So the next planet. Blue as waters was her hue. Of the upper waters, she was the commencement. Alalu, and this is what's weird, you guys. They start talking about upper waters and lower waters, kind of like the firmament, which I found very interesting. They start talking about upper waters and lower waters. Soon celestial Antu, blue as pure waters were the hue of the upper waters, she was the commencement. Alalu, by the sight's beauty, was enchanted. To course at a distance he continued. In the far beyond, Antu's spouse began to shimmer. By size, Antu's the equal. As a spouse's double, by a greenish blueness, was undistinguished. A dazzling host encircled it on its side. With firm grounds they were provided. The two celestials Alalu bade a fond farewell. The path of Gaga was still discerning. The way it was showing to its olden master, of whom it was once the counselor, to Anshar, the foremost prince of the heavens, the next planet. The course was turning. By the speeding chariot, Alalu ensnaring pull of Anshar could tell. So he could feel the pull of the gravity from the other planets. By the speeding chariot, Alalu the ensnaring pull of Anshar could tell. With bright rings of dazzling colors, the chariot was enchanting. His gaze, Alalu, to one side quickly turned, that which shows the way, with might he diverted. A sight most awesome then to him appeared, in the faraway heavens the family's bright star he discerned. A sight most frightening, the revelation followed. A giant monster, in its destiny moving, upon the sun, a darkening cast, Kishar its creator swallowed. Frightening, oh, okay, maybe. Frightening was the occurrence, an evil omen, Alalu indeed thought. The giant Kishar, foremost of the firm planets, its size was overwhelming. Swirling storms obscured its face, colored spots they moved about. A host beyond counting, some quickly, some slowly, the celestial god encircled. Troublesome were their ways, back and forth they were surging. Kishar itself a spell was casting, divine lightnings it was thrusting. As Alalu looked on, his course became upset. His direction was distracted, his doings became confused. Then the deepness darkening began to depart. Kishar on his destiny continued to the circuit. Slowly moving its veil from the shining sun it lifted. The one from the beginning came fully into view. Joy in Alalu's heart was not long lasting. Beyond the fifth planet, the utmost danger was lurking, which was the hammered bracelet. So as he approached the asteroid belt, to demolish it was awaiting. Of rocks and boulders was it together hammered. Like orphans with no mother, they banded together. Surging back and forth, a bygone destiny they followed. Their doings were loathsome, troubling their ways. Nibiru's probing chariots, like preying lions, they devoured. The precious gold needed for surviving, they refused to dislodge. The chariots of Alalu toward the hammered bracelet was headlong moving, the ferocious boulder in close combat to boldly face. Alalu, the firestones in his chariot, more strongly stirred up. That which shows the way, with steady hands he directed. The ominous boulders against the chariot charged forth like an enemy in the battle attacking. Toward them, Alalu a deathly... Toward them, so basically toward the boulders, or the asteroid belt, a death-dealing missile from the chariot let loose. Then another and another against the enemy, the terror weapons he thrust. As frightened warriors, the boulders turned back, a path for Alalu granting. Like by a spell, the hammered bracelet, a doorway to the king it opened. In the dark deepness, Alalu, the heavens could clearly see. By the bracelet's ferocity, he was not defeated. His mission was not ended. So was that the moment the fallen came to Earth? Could it be? No. Well, first, if they are the fallen, the first time they came to Earth, I guess, maybe they come back. That's where I'm kind of getting. I'm hoping I figure this out as I'm reading it, because I'm curious about that. Mankind hasn't been created yet. This is the first celestial being to land on Earth in theory. But maybe not. Maybe the reptilians were already here. I think they were, in fact. The reptilians were already there, according to Russia's Alien Book of Secrets. In the dark deepness, Alalu, the heavens could clearly see. By the bracelet's ferocity, he was not defeated. In the distance, the sun's fiery ball, its brilliance was sending forth. Welcoming rays towards Alalu it was emitting. Before it, a red-brown planet on its circuit was coursing, the sixth in the count of celestial gods, so Mars. Alalu could but glimpse it. On its destined course from Alalu's path it was quickly moving. The snow-hued Earth appeared, the seventh in the celestial count. Towards the planet, Alalu set his course to a destination most inviting. Smaller than Nibiru was its alluring ball. Weaker than Nibiru was its attracting net. They call it attracting net, gravity. Its atmosphere thinner than Nibiru's as well. Clouds were within it swirling. Below, the Earth to three regions was divided. Snow white at the top and on the bottom, blue and brown in the in-between. Deftly, Alalu spread the chariot's arresting wings around the Earth's ball to circle. In the middle region, dry lands and watery oceans he could discern. The beam that penetrates downward he directed. Basically, a tractor or beam to where he's going to land. Earth's innards. Oh no, sorry. The beam. This is the crazy technology that they had. The beam that penetrates downward he directed. Earth's innards to detect. I have attained it. Ecstatically he shouted. Gold. Much gold the beam has indicated. it was beneath the dark-hued region. In the waters it was too. Crazy. So he detected gold with some sort of technology, and a lot of it. With pounding heart, Alalu a decision was contemplating. Shall he on the dry land bring his chariot down, perchance to crash and die? Shall he to the waters his course direct, perchance in oblivion to sink? Which way shall he survive? Will he the treasured gold discover? In the eagle's seat, Alalu, it's kind of crazy how they call it eagle. In the eagle's seat, Alalu was not stirring. To fate hands the chariot he entrusted. Fully caught in Earth's attracting net, the chariot was moving faster. Its spread wings became aglow. Earth's atmosphere, like an oven, was. Then the chariot shook, emitting a mortifying thunder. With abruptness the chariot crashed, with a suddenness altogether stopping. Senseless from the shaking, stunned by the crash, Alalu was without moving. Then he opened his eyes and knew he was among the living. So he landed on Earth. At the planet of gold he had victoriously arrived. Now this is the account of Earth and its gold. It is an account of the beginning and how the celestial gods created were. So this tells a whole thing about Tiamat in the beginning, what took place, and how Earth even came to be. In the beginning, when in the above, the gods in the heavens had not been called into being, and in the below, Ki, the firm ground, had not yet been named. Alone in the void, there existed Apsu, their primordial begetter. In the heights of the above, the celestial gods had not yet been created. In the waters of the below, the celestial gods had not yet appeared. Above and below, the gods had not yet been formed. Destinies were not yet decreed. No reed had yet been formed. No marshland had appeared. Alone did Apsu reign in the void. Apsu. What would that be? Apsu. Alone in Apsu did he reign in the void. Then by his winds the primordial waters were mingled. A divine and artful spell Apsu upon the waters cast. On the void's deep he poured a sound sleep. Tiamat, the mother of all, as a spouse for himself he fashioned. A celestial mother, a watery beauty she was indeed. Beside him, Apsu, little Mumu, then brought forth. As his messenger, he him appointed a gift for Tiamat to present. A gift resplendent to his spouse Apsu granted, a shining metal, the everlasting gold for her alone to possess. So, beside him, Apsu, little Mumu, then brought forth. So, I'm saying they had a kid named Mumu. Mummu. M-U-M-M-U. Mummu. Apsu and Tiamat had a kid, Mummu. And as a messenger, he appointed him a gift, and then a gift for Tiamat to present. Since she gave him a child, Apsu, a gift resplendent to his spouse, Apsu granted. A shining metal, the everlasting gold for her to possess. What kind of beings could they be? Who is Apsu? Basically more like, what is Apsu? What is Tiamat? And Mummu. And then Apsu grants Tiamat a shining metal, the everlasting gold for her to possess. What are they? It's Mummu. M-U-M-M-U. It's very interesting. I don't know what to think of it. I do believe they were celestial beings, though. It says it right here. Apsu was in the void before the planets even existed. He wanted a wife. Of primordial waters, he derived one. So could there be water in space? Like, could there be waters out there? Who knows? Then he presents her with a shining metal. Then it was that their two waters mingled, divine children between them to bring forth. Male and female were the celestials created. Lamu and Lahamu, by names they were called. In the below did Apsu and Tiamat make them an abode. In the below. Where's the below? Yeah. So, okay. So in the below did Apsu and Tiamat make them an abode. Before then had grown in age and in stature. In the waters of the above, Anshar and Kishar were formed. The other planets. They're talking about the planets being formed based on Apsu and Tiamat. In the waters above. The waters below, the waters below above. And Kishar were formed. Surpassing their brothers in size they were. As a celestial couple, the two were fashioned. A son, An, in the distant heavens was their heir. Then Antu, to be his spouse, as An's equal was brought forth. They're talking about planets now, not the people. But it's funny how the Anunnaki, the planets were named after them. I take that back, but that's how they refer to it as. So these are how the planets are being created, guys. They're being created by parents in our solar system. Were they organic beings? Are they alive? Weird. This one gets me going. That takes me down the rabbit hole. I'm like confused. As a celestial couple, the two were fashioned, a son An, then Antu, as a boundary of the upper waters. Check this out. As a boundary of the upper waters, their abode was made. Thus were three heavenly couples, below and above, in the depths created. By names they were called. The family of Apsu with Mamu, and Tiamat they formed. At the time, Nibiru had not yet been seen. The earth was not yet called into being. Mingled were the heavenly waters. By a hammered bracelet, they were not yet separated. So by a hammered bracelet, they were not yet separated. The waters. Is space water? I never believed it, but is it? That'd be freaky. At the time, the circuits were not yet fully fashioned. The destinies of the gods were not yet firmly decreed. The celestial kinfolk banded together. Erratic were their ways. Their ways to Apsu were verily loathsome. Tiamat getting no rest, she was aggrieved and raged. A throng to march by her side she formed. A growling, raging host against the sons of Apsu she brought forth. So Tiamat got so tired of them and their ways and their actions that she had no rest and got aggravated. She built a crew to take out the sons of Apsu. A growling, raging host against the sons of Apsu she brought forth. Withal 11 of this kind she brought forth. She made the firstborn Kingu chief among them. When the celestial gods of this did hear, for counsel they rallied. Kingu she has elevated, to rank as An command to him she gave. She gave On the command to Kingu. To each other they said, a tablet of destiny to his chest she attached, his own circuit to acquire. To battle against the gods, her offspring Kingu she instructed. Who shall stand up to Tiamat? The gods asked each other. None in their circuits stepped forward. Nobody wanted no smoke with Tiamat. Okay? The gods asked each other. None in their circuits stepped forward. None a weapon for battle would bear. At that turn, in the heart of the deep, a god was engendered. At that turn, in the heart of the deep, a god was engendered. In a chamber of fates, a place of destinies, was he born. So, another being or planet, Nibiru, was born by fate. In a chamber of fates, a place of destinies, was he born. By an artful creator was he fashioned. The son of his own son he was. So Nibiru was the son of the sun. By an artful creator was he fashioned. The son of his own son he was. From the deep where he was engendered, the god from his family in a rushing departed, a gift of his creator, the seed of life. With him away he carried. To the void he set his course, a new destiny he was seeking. The first to glimpse the wandering celestial was the ever-watchful Antu. Alluring was his figure, at radiance he was beaming. Lordly was his gait, exceedingly great was his course. Of all the gods he was the loftiest, surpassing theirs his circuit was. The first to glimpse him was Antu. Her breast by child never suckled. Come be my son, she called to him. Let me your mother become. She cast her net and made him welcome, made his course for the purpose suited. Her words filled the newcomer's heart with pride. The one who would nurse him made him haughty. His head to double size grew larger. 4 members at his sides he sprouted. He moved his limbs in acceptance. A godly fire from them blazed forth. Toward onto his course he turned, his face to On, soon to show. When On saw him, my son, with exultation he shouted. To leadership you shall be consigned. A host by your side will be your servants. Let Nibiru be your name, as crossing forever known. He bowed to Nibiru. So this is one of the brothers, the initial sons. He bowed to Nibiru, turning his face at Nibiru's passage. He spread his net. For Nibiru, 4 servants he brought forth. His host by his side to be the south wind, north wind, fast wind, west wind. With joyful heart on to Anshar, his forebear, the arrival of Nibiru he announced. Anshar, upon this hearing, Gaga, who was by his side as an emissary, sent forth words of wisdom to An deliver, a task to Nibiru to assign. He charged Gaga to give voice to what was in his heart, to An thus say, Tiamat, she who bore us, now detests us. Basically, our mother hates us. She has set up a warring host. She is furious with rage. Against the gods, her children, 11 warriors march by her side. Kingu, among them, she elevated. A destiny to his chest she attached without right. No god among us against her venom can stand up. Her host in us all has fear established. Let Nibiru be our avenger. So they don't want, her venom they cannot touch. Their mother they can't beat. Except for this new, born of the sun, god, Nibiru. So wild, weird, bro. It's so hard to grasp. It's like, what were they? Let him vanquish Tiamat, let him save our lives. For him decree a fate. Let him go forth and face our almighty foe. And then for Alalu to know this story and go to Earth. For Alalu, the Anunnaki king cast out, to know this story and go to Earth knowing there's gold. And it turns out they knew what these things were. What kind of beings were these planets, guys? And I do believe they were organic living beings at one time. And were they perfectly round? Like, I even question that. Like, if they were a living being, are they perfectly round? Or are they a chunk of a massive being? I don't know, man. I wish I could find the answer to that. I'd love to hear the true story. I'd love to hear the original. Without all this planets and bullcrap. Just tell me the freaking straight up truth. To An Gaga departed, he bowed before him, the words of Anshar repeated, and to Nibiru his forebears' words repeated. Gaga's message to him revealed. To the words Nibiru with wonder listened. Of the mother who would her children devour with the fascination he heard. His heart, without saying, to set out against Tiamat, him already adopted. He opened his mouth to An and Gaga, he thus said, if indeed I am... See, he opened his mouth to Gaga, which is Pluto, and then the other planet, An, which is probably Jupiter or Saturn, and to his mouth, he opened his mouth and said, if indeed I am to vanquish Tiamat, your lives to save, convene the gods to assembly, my destiny proclaim supreme. Let all the gods agree in council to make me the leader, bow to my command. When Lamu and Lahamu heard this, they cried out with anguish. Strange was the demand, its meaning cannot be fathomed. Thus they said. The gods who decree the fates with each other counseled to make Nibiru their avenger. They all agreed. To him an exalted fate decreed. From this day unchallengeable shall be your commandments. To him they said, no one among us, gods, shall transgress your bounds. Go, Nibiru, be our avenger. They fashioned for him a princely circuit toward Tiamat to proceed. They gave Nibiru blessings. They gave Nibiru awesome weapons. Anshar, 3 more winds of Nibiru brought forth, the evil wind, the whirlwind, the matchless wind. Kishar was a blazing flame, filled his body, a net to enfold Tiamat therein with. Thus ready for battle, Nibiru toward Tiamat directly set its course. Now, this is the account of the celestial battle, and how the earth lead came to be. The Lord went forth, his fated course he followed. Towards the raging Tiamat he set his face. A spell with his lips he muttered. As a cloak for protection, he the pulsar and the emitter put on. With a fearsome radiance, his head was crowned. On his right he posted the smiter, on his left the repeller he placed. The 7 winds, his host of helpers, like a storm, he sent forth. Toward the raging Tiamat he was rushing, clamoring for battle. The gods thronged about him, then from his path they departed. To scan Tiamat and her helpers alone he was advancing, the scheme of Kingu, her host commanders, to conceive. When he saw valiant Kingu, blurred became his vision. As he gazed upon the monsters, his direction was distracted. His course became upset, his doing were confused. Tiamat's band tightly encircled her. With terror they trembled. Tiamat to her roots gave a shudder. A mighty roar she emitted. A mighty roar she emitted. On Nibiru she cast a spell, engulfed him with her charms. The issue between them was joined. The battle was unavoided. Face to face they came, Tiamat and Nibiru. Against each other they were advancing. They for battle approached. They pressed on for single combat. The Lord spread his net. To encompass her he cast it. With fury Tiamat cried out. Like one possessed, she lost her senses. The evil wind, which had been behind him, Nibiru drove forward. In her face he let it loose. She opened her mouth, the evil wind to swallow, but could not close her lips. The evil wind charged her belly. Into her innards it made its way. Her innards were howling, her body was distended, her mouth was open wide. Through the opening, Nibiru shot a brilliant arrow of lightning most divine. A planet killer, right? A brilliant arrow of lightning most divine. It pierced her innards, her belly it tore apart, it tore into her womb, it split apart her heart. Having thus subdued her, her life breath he extinguished. The lifeless body Nibiru surveyed, like a slaughtered carcass Tiamat now was. Beside their lifeless mistress, her 11 helpers trembled with terror. In Nibiru's net they were captured, unable to flee. Kingu by Tiamat was made the host chief, was among them. The Lord put him in fetters. To his lifeless mistress he bound them. He wrested from Kingu the tablets of destinies, unrightly to him given, stamped it with his own seal, fastened the destine to his own chest. The others of Tiamat's band as captives he bound, in his circuit he them ensnared. He trampled them underfoot, cut them into pieces. He bound them all to his circuit, to turn around he made them, backward to the course. From the place of battle Nibiru then departed to the gods who had him appointed the victory to announce. He made a circuit about Apsu, the Kishar, and Anshar lie journeyed. Gaga came out to greet him as a herald to the others. He then journeyed. Beyond An and on to Nibiru to the abode in the deep proceeded. The fate of lifeless Tiamat and of Kingu he then considered. To Tiamat, who he had subdued, the Lord Nibiru then returned. He made his way to her, paused to view her lifeless body, to artfully divide the monster in his heart lie was planning. Divide the monster. Divide the monster. That's crazy. Then as a muscle in two parts, he split her. Her chest from her lower parts he separated. Her inner channels he cut apart. Her golden veins he beheld with wonder. Trotting upon her hinder part, the Lord her upper part completely severed. The north wind his helper, from his side he summoned, to thrust away the severed head, the wind he commanded. In the void he placed it. Nibiru wind upon Tiamat then hovered, sweeping up her gushing waters. Nibiru shot a lightning, to the north wind he gave a signal. In a brilliance was Tiamat's upper part, to a region unknown carried. With her the bound king who was also exiled, of the severed part a companion to be. The hinder part's fate Nibiru then considered. As an everlasting trophy of battle he wished it to be. A constant reminder in the heavens, a place of battle to enshrine. With his mace, the hinder part, he smashed into bits and pieces, then strung them together as a band to form a hammered bracelet. Locking them together as watchmen, he stationed them. A firmament to divide the waters from the waters. So, what are they saying right there, y'all? A firmament to divide the waters from the waters. The hammered bracelet is. Is the asteroid belt our firmament? Is the asteroid belt the true firmament? That's what I just picked up from that. A firmament, so locking them together as watchmen, he stationed them. With his mace, the hinder part he smashed to bits and pieces, strung them together as a band to form a hammered bracelet. Locking them together as watchmen, he stationed them. A firmament to divide the waters from the waters. Meaning the asteroid belt is the firmament. That's gnarly. Artful works that Nibiru thus fashioned, the Lord then crossed the heavens to survey the regions. From Apsu's quarter to the abode of Gaga he measured the dimensions. The edge of the deep Nibiru then examined. Toward his birthplace he cast his gaze. He paused and hesitated. Then to the firmament, the place of battle, he slowly returned. Passing again in Apsu's direct region of the sun's missing spouse, he thought with remorse. So Apsu is the sun. He gazed upon Tiamat's wounded half. To her upper part he gave attention. The waters of life, her bounty, from the wounds were still pouring. Water still coming out of her wounds. He gazed upon Tiamat's wounded half. To upper part he gave attention. The waters of life, her bounty. Her golden vein, Apsu's rays were reflecting. The seed of life, his creator's legacy, Nibiru then remembered. When he trod on Tiamat, when he trod on Tiamat, when he split her asunder, to her the seed he surely imparted. He addressed words to Apsu, to him thus saying, with your warming rays, the wounds give healing. Let the broken part new life begin in your family as a daughter to be. Let the waters to one place be gathered. Let firm land appear. By firm land let her be called Ki, henceforth her name to be. Apsu, the words of Nibiru gave heed. Let the earth join my family. Firm land of the below, let earth her name henceforth be. By her turning let there be day and night. In the days my healing rays to her I shall provide. Let Kingu be a creature of the night. To shine at night I shall appoint him, the moon. Earth's companion, the moon forever to be. Nibiru the words of Apsu with satisfaction heard. He crossed the heavens and surveyed the regions. To the gods who had him elevated he granted permanent stations. Their circuits he destined that none shall transgress nor fall short of each other. He strengthened the heavenly locks, gates on both sides he established. An outermost abode he chose for himself. Beyond Gaga were its dimensions. The great circuit to be his destiny he beseeched Apsu for him to decree. All the gods spoke up from their stations. Let Nibiru's sovereignty be surpassing. Most radiant of the gods he is. Let him truly the son of the sun be. From his quarter Apsu gave blessing. Nibiru shall hold the crossing of heaven and earth. Let crossing shall be his name. The gods shall cross over neither above nor below. He shall hold the central position. The shepherd of the gods he shall be. A Shar shall be in a circuit that is destiny for a be. Now this is the account of how the olden times began. And the era that in the annals of earth the golden era by name was known. And how from Nibiru to earth the missions went the gold to obtain. The escape of Alalu from Nibiru was its beginning. With great understanding was Alalu endowed. Much knowledge he by learning acquired. By his forefather Anshargal of the heavens and the circuits much knowledge was amassed. By Anshar was knowledge greatly augmented. Of Alalu made much learning, so he basically learned it all. Holy crap. I got through it. Sorry if it got redundant. But it talked about the firmament, the water splitting, the separating of the waters above the waters. Or waters above and waters below. And the firmament being the asteroid belt. The sun is Apsu. Do you guys believe they were just planets, or do you believe they were organic beings? Yeah, Bricks and Bruins, you can email me real quick to nightgod87 at protonmail. Haha, for sure. I would love to. It's so hard to... What up, Trey? How you doing, buddy? World of Warcraft lore, interesting. Dark matter. It makes me wonder if they were not like, could they have been like, and I'm not saying this, like, could they have been like massive, like, they called them monsters. Could they have been massive, like, dragon-esque beings? Or like water beings, like waterborne beings? If, in fact, space is water in the firmament, it just makes me wonder, like, I'm so pondered it and just like baffled by it and pondering it. I know Earth is definitely alive, or the land or other landmass far beyond. Interesting. Roger Sperman, planets are machines. And this is why you shouldn't stay up at night. 450 foot, I feel about miles tall giants. Have you watched my Book of Enoch Giants of 3,000 Ls video yet? It's 26 minutes long. Oh yeah, oh, that the cells within cell theory. Yes. Uh Stephen King, the Tower series. The Tower series. Um yeah, basically we end up being a drop of water on a blade of grass. I read that book. The Gunslinger. The Gunslinger. Awesome movies. But yeah, same kind of thing. Yeah, I want to read some more on Enoch too. You use bad, negative music, it distorts your thoughts. Hey, resend me that Titan there in East Alabama. Negative music. She said bag negative music. Not like that now. Not like that. Bad negative. She used bad negative. But she said bag and neg. Neg. I don't know. Negative abbreviation. Not the latter there, Patrick Pearson. But I could understand what it sounded like. But no, we are not that on this channel. Far from it. Now the good aliens are a coming and the cult aliens are booking it. That's what I'm guessing, Dwight Dawson. He said the firmament keeps water in and water out. Therefore, the part that we call space is not space but water. No, yes. They could have been organic beings native to a higher plane, and this battle was fought there, which in turn affected the physical plane and such. Well said, Ramrod. That sounds very interesting. Typo had bad negative energy. Yes, you're good, Misty. Yeah, no, you're good. You're good. We are all alien to each other, sure. At Proton Mail. Proton Mail? Ha ha ha. Ort Cloud. No, I didn't, Jake. Are 450-foot tall giants friendly to gnomes and reptilians? Some. I think there's bad and good giants. Yeah, dude, send me that to my Proton there. I am 007 Durf. Yeah, I know, right? Water can refer to a multitude of beings. Donut. We are 21 grams of soul. Interesting. I like that you put a measurement on it. Pretty decent with Skinwalker Ranch. I could refresh a little bit on it, but yeah. Yeah, I know, right? The firmament and all that. I never thought of the firmament actually being the asteroid belt, though. That one kind of took me. You work in Antarctica. Interesting. Jermaine Wiley. Interesting. Land and islands beyond the ice, where we really come from. Monstro. Love it, bro. Love it. Beyond the ice. Beyond the ice wall, possibly. Well, that's the only way they have babies in inner Earth, is in the water. A torus field. Interesting. Well, that's just what they said in this reading that I just read, the Book of Enki. Tiamat was, yes, broken into the asteroid belt. But it also became the firmament to separate the waters from the waters, it said. And that would make sense because it would have a gravitational or a atmospheric type pull, I imagine. I love Project Blue Book. Admiral Byrd, absolutely. I'm not sure what you can do with this knowledge. Just, yeah, as above, so below. Sure. As within, so without. It's interesting. And it's interesting how Tiamat was evil and then God gave her a second chance and let her portion of her become a daughter. So yes, Mother Nature, creator of all. Ancient Mayan artwork shows the layers. I'd love to see that. TikTok Live is broken. It's freezing. Yeah, I'll probably quit going to TikTok Live. I'll probably just go to Facebook. The Dune? No. Is that new? Good morning from Scotland. Thank you. Good morning, Scotland. No, I'm going to do a couple more things too. Oh, the wing makers. The wing makers. There's supposedly this legend and lore that a gentleman found these 23 caves with certain relics in each, and the wing makers left them, and they basically are highly advanced technological tools that these wing makers explained how to use, and it would allow them to time travel. I'm going to look into a story about that too. So there's a lot of awesome stories. You can throw it on while you're asleep. Well said, Yogi Steph. I would like to check out some Solomon stuff too. To steal technology to predict the future. Yeah, I love cryptids too. I got to get back to my cryptid stuff too. Yeah, I heard my TikTok Live is broken. Haters. Most censored freaking app in the planet. Oh well. I'm with my fake Facebook or my YouTube peeps anyway. Yup, check out Dogman Encounters Radio. Interesting. Yeah, is he on YouTube? Soul Rod, how are you? The MT Gnomes. Beast Vision. Yeah, I don't know about that, bro. I'm a little nervous about that. Put Misty on live already. I'm just reading the Book of Enki. It's just a book. Yeah, dude, I was thinking that too. Asgard and all that. Yes. Vic Cundiff. Somebody sent me some really cool pictures on my Proton mail of Dogman. Some really cool pictures that were really old, like from Vatican archives. I don't know, dude. TikTok don't like to hear on the real shit. Night, Jake. We're about to end it though, guys. It's been a good live. I hope you enjoyed. If you didn't catch the beginning, go back and watch it. And yeah, I'll show you guys. I'm gonna get my pictures around too that people send me. And yeah, just add me on Facebook. You guys can add my Facebook there, Yogi Steph. Yes, the Aztecs did. Yeah, I want to read. I'm thinking about starting the Book of Enoch myself. Thank you, Miss. I appreciate you. Soul Rod. Anybody can hit me up. Tanya Miller. I know it. Anybody can hit me up on my Proton mail. Night God 87 at Proton mail. And yeah, add me on Facebook, Yogi Stuff. Eric Von Daniken, yes, he's got some good ones too. Chariots of the God. Sauce 90, bro. Interview needed. No, I haven't been to the Giant Mounds. KK, yeah, add me, miss. Yeah, I'm curious about that. Hey, appreciate you, Dre. You the man, bro. And I'm getting to your stories, I promise you, bro. Don't think I forgot about them. But all right, guys. Yeah, mermaids are real. All that. So, Sauce.90, you're going to have to enlighten me. Like I said, Night God 87, Night Monstro, my guy. Good seeing you here. As always. Yes. Hit me up. I would. No. Ha. Be good. Be good. See you guys.